Well, hello, fam. First and foremost, welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone.
As you can tell, we're twinning today.
Look at these amazing sweatshirts. Instead of dad jokes, it's Chad jokes.
And then mine says, and don't forget, you are God's masterpiece. Which is, if you listen to Mornings with the Masters on our podcast, that's like the last little line. Our patrons sent us these, and we just got them yesterday, and we've been living in them because they are so cozy. Anyways.
And if you guys notice the camera just do this a little bit, it's because
Chad's holding it.
I'm holding it with my left arm, and my left arm is an absolute liability. I'm like right arm dominant, even though I truly do think I'm left.
Why don't just like set the camera up, but it's okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
How's this feel?
Y'all, we're doing another like uncut video. We feel like those are some of your favorites. Like you love just the very raw, unedited videos. And so we thought we should do like a little pillow talk.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys
We
are
did not mean to say
familiar
it in time, but-
like with what pillow talk is, but it kind of stems from like, if growing up, you're ever having a sleepover with somebody or you're with your brother, sister, whoever. And then typically at night, as you're just decompressing your thoughts, you just start to air out like what you're thinking, what you're feeling and everything.
Yeah.
And the thoughts seem to be a lot more just kind of fun and interesting or calm or I don't know. So we thought it would be fun to have one. And I think we're going to do a Pillow Talk episode every month over on our Patreon.
Yeah.
But this is the first of its kind for us. And I think we just wanted to decompress a bit and share with you guys what God's been teaching us.
Yeah, and it, I feel like, goes back to our why behind the channel anyway, which is just like having conversations with you guys. Just very real and honest conversations where we feel like we're just chatting. And so hopefully that's how you feel right now.
If you're wondering why I have a hat on in bed.
Are you going to show them?
This is why I have a hat on. So,
It kind of like this.
Yeah, it was like a palm tree that just got opened up. So that's why I have a hat on.
I also haven't washed my hair in like 4 days. It's fine. I found a random bobby pin in my hair yesterday, which I put in my hair on Saturday morning, and I had it in a ponytail. And then I had since had like 2 messy buns, my hair down with a hat on.
She showered several times.
No, I hadn't showered. Well, I had taken baths. I had taken like baths, but I hadn't washed my hair. And then last night, I was just sitting and I just literally pulled out a bobby pin from my hair. And I was like, wow, the struggle is real.
I wonder who invented those. Was it Bobby? Like, who got who's Bobby?
I don't know. Does anybody know where bobby pins came from?
Bobby freaking sold thousands or millions, gazillions of those things because they're everywhere in our house because of you.
Yeah, it's a girl thing. I feel like any girl knows that like you lose hair ties and you lose bobby pins. Like I don't know where they all go. It's like socks. It's like where do all the socks go?
I don't know. Somewhere, some space in the dryer, there's like an area for them to escape.
Yeah, it's like a black hole.
Or like little fairies come and take them or something.
Okay, I feel like we should encourage them or tell them what God has been teaching us.
Babe, that was Pillow Talk.
I mean, technically that is.
That was classic Pillow Talk.
That is very much.
Have you guys ever
how
noticed
our
Tori's
train
little
goes.
one dimple right here? Look at
My
that.
brother, okay, so fun fact. My dad has both dimples on both sides.
What?
My brother has the dimple on the right side, and I have the dimple on the left side. And he said it was our first lesson in sharing.
That's so funny. Your dad would say something like that. I wish I had dimples. I just have like these lines. You guys want to hear something crazy? Whenever I was modeling, I feel like I say that a lot, but I just have a lot of stories because that was like, that was for like 7-8 years in my early to mid 20s. And so it was a big part of my life. And I was having lunch with some other models, male models, and you just think of Zoolander, right? But typically those guys and girls don't get along because it's competition. You're having lunch with your competition. So, but me, let's get lunch. I'll grab the bill if I have to. So we're having lunch, and this one guy is a little bit older than the rest of us. I think I was like 24 at the time, 25. And we're like, man, you look like you're my age, but you're like 15 years older. And we're like, how do you do that? And he's like, don't smile. And I'm like, like, and he's like, no, but seriously, like, don't smile. You won't get any lines. And I'm like,
what?
At that moment, I knew I was never going to take him to lunch again.
Oh my God.
It was, yeah, it's like the stuff. Why was I sharing? Oh, the smile stuff. That's where that came from.
You know what's funny? When we were in Mexico, I think that I was craving routine so much because normally, and I don't know how y'all are, but like January 1st is like that button that you like hit. And like January 1st, I start my new routines. And I feel like I get in this like habit. And we're actually going to talk about that in another video. But that was not how our year started because we started out the year traveling. And so in Mexico, I like started my own routine.
You did.
Like every morning, I would wake up before Chad around 7, and I'd like get all my devotional stuff, my Bible and my journal and my little devotional I was going through, like this handbook thing. I'll have to share that with y'all another time because it's really cool. Anyways, and I would leave Chad sleeping, and I'd go downstairs to the little cafe.
Well, you wouldn't just leave me sleeping. You would try to get me to wake up.
I would, because I like wanted you to come enjoy breakfast with me.
But I was on vacation.
But Chad wanted to sleep in. Anyways, he used to be the early riser in our relationship, and that switched when we moved to Florida. Long story short, I'd go down to the cafe and I like made friends with the waiters, and it was so funny because this was my new routine. I like went down there, they knew my name, they knew I wanted my like coffee and my juice, and then I'd like break out all my stuff and like fill my table, and I would start journaling. And one of the guys came up to me and he's like, what are you, I would try to do the accent, but I know Chad would make fun of me because I'm terrible at accents.
She sounds Russian anytime she does an accent.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
Anyway.
Привет.
No,
Sorry.
He's like, Victoria. That's what he'd say. Victoria. He'd say, you smile.
That's like Italian or something.
I know, I need the hands. Anyways. He'd be like, don't ever stop smiling, all this stuff. And he's like, what are you like writing about? He's like, you look out into the ocean and you smile and you write things down. And what was so crazy was that day, I even showed Chad this journal.
Yeah, she has a picture of it.
I was literally praying for the Lord to open up opportunities inside of Mexico to share my faith. Because I was like, you know what, Lord? I feel like I've now contained you, in a sense. I put you in a box where I feel like our like ministry is all online or it's social media, etc. And I'm like, will you just open up an opportunity while we're here? And as I am writing this, the waiter comes up and he's like, what are you writing about? Are you a writer? And I was like, no, I'm journaling my prayers.
God?
No, what was so cool is I like got to share with him like the little handbook and the journal and the notebook and everything else. And by the end, we were sitting there eating lunch, and he was like trying to teach us Spanish. Like he became one of our friends. And he said, God bless. And I was like, are you talking about the same God?
I would say, ay, Dios mío.
But anyways, I just thought that that was so sweet, and wanted to encourage you guys that I feel like really often we put God in these boxes of, well, or we compartmentalize like, okay, this is my work, this is my friend group, this is my marriage or my relationship, etc. And I feel like God just wants to invade every aspect of your life. And as you give that to him, like your everyday mundane, he will use that to open up opportunities to share his good news. And I just thought that was like a cool little example of that. And I wasn't even like planning on sharing that, but
it's
you
pillow
reminded
talk.
me that. Anyways, I thought that was a fun story.
Yeah. I've been feeling a few things. I feel like Tori tends to pick a word of the year. I pick one, but then I forget about it. Not in a mean way. I just like, I think I just get a little bit lost in all the shuffle of life.
Yeah.
But I feel like your word of the year is calm. And I feel like I'm being super calm. Not that you're not.
No, it's true.
But I feel like I've probably shared this before, and so I'm sorry if it's a broken record, but I read this great book by Watchman Nee, and it's called Sit, Walk, Stand, and it's about like the 3 different postures you have under Christ, and like the first one is sit, and it talks about how our first response to things that we're experiencing in life should be to sit, because what happens when you sit you're putting the burden on something else, right? Like you're putting your weight on something else, and you no longer have to hold up your weight, right?
Yeah.
Which is a metaphor, obviously. And it was talking about how when during creation, God created like man, and then the next day was the Sabbath. And so man's first day, of course, when I say man, I'm saying like men and women, but his first day was the Sabbath.
Yeah.
And so the first day for humankind was spent resting in the work that God had completed. And I feel like that's been something I've been thinking about, because I love to start the new year and just like crush it. I'm like, let's go. Let's like new routines. I love that stuff. I eat it all up. But then for some reason, I think this year we really wanted to start with rest, which is why we booked that Mexico trip. And it hasn't been perfect. Nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I've been thinking about is two other things. Number one, about how things aren't perfect. I feel like we're constantly striving for things. Like we lay out like our morning routine or a hope for our spouse or our career path. And it's never like that. It's never perfect. And I think when we embrace that and we enjoy some of the imperfections that life throws at us, and we lower our expectations, but not in a bad way, but it helps us enjoy our experience more. And that's something that I feel like I've been able to enjoy things a little bit more, because I'm not trying to force a square peg into a round hole as much anymore. Yeah. But it's not a perfect solution of how I'm figuring things out. But then the second thing is about dreaming bigger that I've been feeling. I don't know. I just feel like it's so cliche. You've heard it 1,000 times, but it's like that quote that says, if your dreams don't require God, then they're not big enough.
You know, that's on my phone.
Is that on your phone?
Yeah, I like look at that quote.
Maybe it was subliminally hitting me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where's it at?
If our plans don't need God to make them happen, they are not from God.
Maybe it was a subliminal thing.
I'm not kidding. No. Oh, can I do the Instagram thing? I do this. Oh.
Babe, your burden is not supposed to be on me. It's on Jesus.
Kinda. You take on my burdens when you say I do.
Oh, my sweet babies.
Anyway.
My hand got caught in her hair. That was attractive.
I should probably brush it. It hasn't been brushed since Saturday.
Just a little word to the wise for you guys being excited about marriage. Your spouse's hair ends up everywhere.
All over the place. Like, especially the bathroom floor, because when you're blow drying your hair, you're brushing it, then it just all comes out.
Whenever you do laundry, like a mixed load of her clothes, my clothes, all that, it ends up in my socks. It ends up in my underwear. I'm just like, hair is everywhere. That's like a Dr. Seuss book. Yeah. Anyways, what was I just sharing? Oh, I've just been feeling it pressed into my heart. Is like, I want to leave room for God to move. Yeah. But I feel like I was constantly trying to force things. Yeah. And that way, anything that happened that was good that I was aiming at, or we were aiming at, was, it's just our own muscle into it. Yeah. And I'm not saying God didn't do that, because he did, but I feel like I was only doing enough that didn't require his help. You know what I mean? And now I feel like we're thinking of things that are so much greater, and not just like greater in terms of the world's point of view. I'm not meaning that at all. Like, even when it comes to how many children we want to have, that's changed for me in a good way. I'm like, Lord, let it rain, like,
well, I think it's the idea of being driven by eternity,
driven by,
well, because it, like, where your limitations end, that's like what we were talking about even in today's devotional, is that's where like God can start, and even before filming this video, I was just journaling. I'm like, you know what, Lord, like sometimes we put so much pressure on like what we can bring, to the kingdom. And I think that the Lord is way more concerned with just your surrender and being willing to be like, Lord, I feel weak today, or I feel like I don't have anything to give today, but your strength is made perfect in my weakness, and you can use me because you can use me, and it has nothing to actually do with me. It has everything to do with just that like surrender of being like, okay, God, let me just sit with you, and from that, like from your presence, from abiding in you, from surrendering to you, from that place, everything else can flow. But I feel like when we get caught up in what you're saying of just like the striving and the hustle and the, you know, like how am I pursuing my calling and everything else, and I think that God is way more concerned with our abiding, like our surrender, our like actually just being in his presence and being fully there, and not being in his presence to check off a box, but being in his presence because we desire him more than we desire anything else in the world. And yeah, it was just encouraging to me today, because to be honest, as we were like getting ready to film a video, I was just like, man, I just don't know what I want to talk about. I'm trying to figure out what God is teaching me. And there's just been some interesting lessons this year, to be honest, that have just been kind of like tougher. Like they've just been like, they've been good lessons, but it's those like refining lessons, and those types of messages mean that you've like been through the fire, you know, like you get refined by going through fire, and walking through fire hurts, and it's
you've
tough.
heard it here: no fire, no diamond, no pressure, no diamond. That's what it is. No pressure, no diamond.
Yeah, but it's true, and I'm learning other things too. I'll just kind of like, this is not going to be like eloquent or perfect, but I feel like I'm really, really learning this year that just because I'm available doesn't mean that I'm free.
Hold on. Say that for me one more time.
Just because I'm available doesn't mean I'm like free.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm just trying to...
So in like my schedule, if I see that I'm available at a certain time, that doesn't mean that I'm like free to put something else in my calendar, because I'm the kind of person where I'm like, oh, I have a free hour, let me fill that with something. And I feel like the Lord is, as my word is like calm for the year, and we're starting out with rest, I feel like I've even made my rest an achievement a lot of the time. Chad always convicts me of that.
It's like a box she tries to check off.
I'm like, my rest has to be like this, and this, and I need to gain this, and this.
Yeah.
And so I feel like because our life, and in a way, is pulled in so many different directions, I have to fight to abide in his presence. Like, I have to make it a priority.
I thought you were just gonna like meme everybody right now.
What do you mean?
And say you have to fight for your right to fall.
Oh.
I thought you were gonna go on this whole like 10-minute tangent.
No.
Just to lead people to that song.
No.
Can you imagine if you just did that to everybody?
That would be funny though. That would be funny. My brain doesn't work like yours. Anyways, I'm saying all that to say that it's really easy to get caught up in the hustle of life, no matter what season you're in. If you're in college, you have classes and friend groups and everything else. Or if you're working a 9 to 5 and then you have stuff to do afterwards, or you're a full-time mom and your schedule is just crazy. Like, I feel like there really is a war for our attention, and there's a war for our devotion, and we can't let the enemy win. And we truly have to fight to make space to abide in the presence of the Lord. Yeah,
I agree. And just to finish up that thought that I was having about if your plans don't require God, then they're not big enough. It was mainly just like, typically when you ask someone like this, I'm sorry for using this as an example, but you ask them like, okay, do you want kids? And if so, how many would you like? A lot of people say like 1 or 2 or 3, just because that's as much as they think they can handle. And I get that. I've made that decision 1,000 times, and who knows what the Lord will for our life, right? But I'm just saying, it's like, wow, I've made so many decisions. The school I chose to go to, the major I had, the job I was willing to take, it was all within my own limitations. It had nothing to do with what God was willing to do and would do through me and in me. And so now, as I'm making decisions, I want to ask him about what his will is for my life, and not just make decisions over like what is a prudent decision. Now, I do agree with making smart decisions, right? I do agree with like there's wisdom. Go read Proverbs. Like there's a purpose to making smart decisions, but I also I want to make decisions that require faith. So
yeah, that's good. God will never call you to anything that's contrary to his truth. And so if Like,
Are you just gonna drop little nuggets like that the whole time?
What do you mean?
Wow, look at my little nugget right here. My little nugget.
Well, it's true, because I do think that a lot of people think like, oh, I heard from God, or I'm feeling called by God, but if it's contrary to his truth, the truth of his word, then that wasn't God. And so I think it's a really good like litmus test when you're dreaming, when you're planning, to always take that, bring it back to the word of God, and just make sure, like if you're having trouble hearing from God, or you feel like God's being silent, like open the word of God. Like there's plenty right there, waiting for you. God's like, I want to speak to you through my word. And I just feel like a lot of people are waiting for like 10 different confirmations when they're just like not willing to open their Bible.
Shots fired. By the way, we got to wrap this thing up because I have to pee so bad.
Oh yeah, we were like, let's just chat for like less than 10 minutes.
Oh my god!
Every time
I couldn't see.
We're so chatty. Like we don't know
I'm
how to
chatty.
just have like a
You're
quick
Tori.
conversation. My sweet babish.
All right.
All right, y'all. We love you. We hope you enjoyed this chitty chatty pillow talk.
If you don't mind, if you've watched this far, let us know a couple things in the comments below. Number one, has this year started the way you wanted it to?
Yeah.
And number two, I had a number two. If we were editing this video, that would be hilarious. I can't remember number two. Okay. So feel free to just let us know how you're doing. But gosh, there was something I was going to say.
And if there's anything that y'all want from us, like any video suggestions or any topics.
Money!
I get so many DMs asking for money. I do. It's really funny. Anyways, yeah.
We love you.
Any topics you want us to talk about, let us know as we're planning.
And scheming. Love y'all.
We'll be talking to you in the next video.
Do 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 do.